In this third episode of our Oodnadatta Track series, we show you a few different places and ways to see water along Oodnadatta Track and in Lake Eyre, including Halligan's Bay, Strangways Springs, and seeing Lake Eyre from the air. Keep watching. Works on Udnidata somewhere near Coward Springs, and it's so we're going to have to clean the van with him in mud. I might just straight away. Yeah, but the rocks, you're going to have to really watch the rocks, honey.
Just pulling up his road.
Approaching Coward Springs, we've decided we're not going to stay there or drop in there this time. We enjoyed it last time we were there, but the pool in there's smallish, and if it's busy, it's just a bit too busy. So we're just going to keep going through to William Creek this time. That's the beauty of revisiting areas. You can decide what you want to see and what you don't want to see. We didn't stop in at Mound Springs and the Bubbler this time either, because we've done that before and the road in there was atrocious last time. This time we're doing the track, it's mainly to cover the William Creek to Udnidata part, because we didn't do that last time, and then we're going to decide whether we cut across to Cadney Station via Painted Desert, or if we do a day trip out to Painted Desert.
Once upon a time, just a single lane, sandy track.
When you're driving on the shoulder because the track is so bad. We've done a lot of that on this Udnidata between Murray and where are we going? William Creek. Strangway Springs is a significant Mound Springs complex consisting of nearly 2 square kilometres full of hundreds of mound springs and soaks, surrounded by gibber plains. In the 19th century, Strangway Springs was a pastoral property, one of 11 repeater stations on the Australian Overland Telegraph line and a stop of the Great Northern Railway. It was a critical part of the nation's communication system. It was one of the earliest pastoral leases in this area. A stone homestead was built on the Mound Springs and a large wool scour was established along with stone wall sheep pens. The property changed hands several times and was impacted by drought in the 1860s and 90s. The homestead was relocated to Anna Creek in 1876, but there were still significant pastoral activities around Strangways Springs, including the presence of an overseer, stockman and stock. Strangways Springs still sits in the Anna Creek Station, the largest station in all of Australia. Strangways Springs, or Punky Wahuna, excuse the pronunciation, has been added to the South Australian Heritage Register in 1986 and is maintained by a volunteer association, the Friends of Mound Springs, in partnership with the Arabunna traditional owners and the South Australian Park and Wildlife Authority. The Friends of Mound Springs have tasked themselves with the signage and upkeep of the site.
But if you don't want to tell me now, I guess I'll never know. Here we go, turning all the wrongs into rights. Here we go, you can take me there tonight. Whoa, this life is always.
So this is Strangway Springs. There's 3 walks that you can do here. You've got the settlement, which is just coming up here. It's the shortest one. Then there's the Mound Springs walk, which leads from around this area. And then there's the Wool Wash walk, And there's just back there where those people are, there's a little box and it's got brochures for each of the walks.
They all look like old Mound Springs, don't they?
Yeah, they do look like Mound Springs. A lot of the Mound Springs around here have dried up because of all the bores sucking water out of the Great Artesian Basin.
So this is Strangways, and this is the manager's residence and the telegraph station. It's really fortified, this one. Very unusual building.
That would have been the wool shed over there. And these are all dry-walled stockyards. And the smithy's quarters, or workshop. We're sure there's a few graves on here, but this is the only one that's got an elaborate headstone. Mary died at 32 years of age.
Also, David Randall, third son of
William and Anne Randall.
Yeah. Randall,
Died at Strangway Springs, age 41.
1893.
Mound Springs quite like little mini volcanoes at the top, where the water used to bubble out from. Would have been a sight to see in its day with all of these active mound springs. Seeing this chopper come over was a reminder to us that we were in the middle of Anna Creek Station, the largest Australian pastoral lease in Australia. Mustering of stock and checking on stock in these vast stations is commonly done with helicopters.
Ground below us would be very hard.
It's amazing how many mounds there are though, how many springs there would have been. Imagine how much water runoff there would have been. We found one of the mounds that still has water in it and still appears to be running off the side.
So this is Sedge Spring.
Peter noticed that there's bubbles coming up, and there's actually a tiny little bubbler in the corner there where the water's coming out. Every now and then, there, you see bubbles.
Just gotta wait for the weather. Sunlight to hit.
Well, there's at least one active mound here. What's this one called, honey?
Waterfall Spring, I think this one here is.
Oh, I can see water coming off that one, the spring over there.
Yeah, just there. Yeah.
All of the reeds growing in this area was a dead giveaway of how much moisture is around. Excuse the flies, they're friendly. This is why it's Waterfall Springs. Who'd have thought on the Udnidata?
I've got some of it.
Now if you don't mind having a bit of a walk and you want a bit more of an adventure, come up to Strangway Springs. We've been to the Bubbler and Mound Springs before and look, they're worth having a look at. We liked it, but there's so much more to see here. When you get out, have a bit of exercise, and it's a bit of an adventure trying to find which of the mounds has got water still flowing from them. A good hint with that is to see where there's extra vegetation around them. Reeds, excuse me, reeds and grasses and all that sort of stuff.
The Mound Springs walk, it's about 2.5 maybe kilometres round walk. And this, now we're heading back to the settlement and back to the caravan car park. It's a pretty nice walk. There's lots of ancient and extinct springs everywhere, and some are really tall. It indicates they've been around for quite some time.
What was your favourite part?
I reckon the waterfall was cool.
Yeah, the Waterfall Springs?
Yeah, the waterfall springs.
That was a bit of a surprise. I didn't expect to see that.
Apparently somebody just had a shower under it in the 1870s.
Yeah, live at the plant thing, go to the springs, have a bit of a shower.
Yeah, thought it was unusual to do that in the middle of this outback area.
Yeah.
Where all the information brochures are. Lots. It's a great way to do it.
So when you come up from the car, you come up towards the settlement, you'll see where the signs are for that. And then there's this box here that you've got a lot of brochures in about the walks that are here.
Yep.
There's 3 walks that you can do, and it's got information all about what's around the walks. The settlement's one of them. The Mound Springs, which we did, was another one. And what's the third one? The Woolshed.
There's also there's one here on the Overland Telegraph line.
Oh, okay, cool.
Which is, you've got some interesting information.
But what was the third walk?
The Mound Springs.
Yep.
And the other one is the station one.
Oh, the Woolwash Walk.
Yeah, Woolwash Walk.
So we haven't done the Woolwash Walk, but we've done the station and the Mound Springs walks.
Yep.
And I've got these poles all around giving you a direction of where things are and points of interest. And the car park's plenty big enough to bring your caravan up here and turn around. The road in is about 2 kilometres long and it's in really quite good nick. Actually probably better than Oodnadatta Track is. This is the unpowered section at William Creek Campground. Pull up anywhere you like. Toilets are just beyond those dongas there, and showers, individual ensuite kind of setup. Powered section through there where you've got power. There is water available, desalinated water available at the toilet block when you leave. There's a dump point and you can drop your rubbish in bins in the powered section. It's not a bad setup, it's what you expect for an outback campground. My only bitch is that you can't get any supplies here. So at William Creek Hotel you can get a meal and grog at outback prices, expect that. But don't expect to be able to get any groceries or vehicle parts if you need them. They do tyre repairs here. Yeah, so that's William Creek. There's a sign on the way out of William Creek. See, SEA, your ladder. See your ladder. Yesterday we noticed when we came past, this is the Halligan Bay turn off. When we came past here there was 3 caravans parked here on the corner while people drove out to the bay without their caravans. So if you don't want to stay in William Creek for the night, but you just want to do a day trip out to Halligan Bay, that's always an option. This is the beginning of the road going out to Halligan Bay. I'd take my caravan on this. Curious to see what the rest of it's like. I'll just do snippets of the road going all the way through.
Yeah, we're quite at the end of it. The road.
Probably about halfway into Halligans Bay, going through Anna Creek Station. The whole lot has been corrugated, but you can usually pick your way through to get a reasonable line. We saw a caravan coming out on our way in, and it was just a touring van. This is actually better than a lot of the Marie to William Creek Oodnadatta Track section so far. It's a little section of wool dust. Caravan coming out. You need to watch out for a few little sections of bull dust too. There's no major bull dust areas, just small bull dust runs. But they usually are a lot lighter on the road. White dust. So once you get into the national park, we're actually on the shoulder, the road turns to crap. It is really corrugated in most places. Look at making a liar out of me now.
Just us little sections.
This one's going to be corrugated. It's interesting terrain. About 10k out. That's better. Straddle it.
I want to hit it high like that. Take something out. That's high.
This is Halligan Bay, just as you're first approaching it. Apparently it's 3 kilometres still to the campground from here. But we're further away from the water, I reckon, than we were at Level Post Bay at this point. Be interesting to see how it changes. So that's the Halligans Bay campground, and that's the day visitors area. Campground itself isn't too big, you'd only be able to fit a couple of caravans in there. Then there's an overflow area with soft ground, so Yeah, interesting.
It's a pretty short walk from the car park to view the lake. And there's the water. Yeah, I suppose that's about, what, 20 metres off? 50 metres off?
I see seagulls.
And you can see seagulls at any Macca's or... Look at that.
And of course the obligatory seagull is out here. Lake Eyre, Halligan Bay. You could be on a beach anywhere in Australia. You just wouldn't expect to be in the outback. Oh no, it was from the air.
From there, but it was further out.
We didn't go to come to Halligan Bay though, because the road was reported as rubbish last time. Salt on the rocks. Didn't expect to see sandstone shelves out here, but then it is an inland sea, so.
There we go.
Oh my god, that is so salty. I know it's a salt lake, but that's fresh water that comes down.
Quick turns to salt. Salty water.
Oh my god, it's so salty.
Looks good, doesn't it?
It's amazing. No wonder the seagulls love it.
Yeah. Anyway, there you go. Inland sea.
It's just mind-boggling.
Yeah.
You know, we're in the middle of Australia.
Yep.
And there's this.
Not that far off here. This is like a beach area, isn't it? Edge of the lake. Looking that way.
That way you can see land.
Yep.
That's the bottom of Halligan Bay. But you go around, you could think it was an ocean somewhere. It's amazing being out here. Seeing all this water in the desert. Makes you feel small and insignificant too. This is geology in the making. Sandstone and siltstone from past deposits. And again, now, all that silt from the rivers in the Channel Country. Sorry farmers who donated silt to this lake. I've noticed there's a lot of sticks laying in the water. It's probably stuff that's carried down with the floodwaters. There's one here. Out there. You spot them all through along the shoreline. Halligan's Bay can be accessed at Halligans Bay Point Campground. It's located on the shores of the lake and is an exposed flat campground. Parks state it's suitable for tents only, although we did see caravans and campers out there. And they state there's 20 vehicle parking, but the hard stand area would only take a few, and then the other area is stated as soft ground, so you just need to be cautious on that. There's no campfires allowed. Being a park, there's no dogs allowed, and there's no power available. It's only got long drop toilets and picnic tables, but it's a brilliant spot to check out the lake when it's in flood. Such a magnificent and beautiful landscape. It really makes me consider my place in the world. Excuse me getting deep and meaningful, but these kind of environments really make me feel insignificant in a good way. This is just up from Halligan's Bay. You can actually see the bay in the distance there. But it's just such a stark environment out here. Looks almost like all like ironstone. Two calves.
We kind of figured they were very keen to go to market.
They're in bloody good nick. Yeah. This is the first time we've seen cattle on any of these stations and on the road. They're in pretty good nick, considering there's no feed around. They're going, yeah, I don't like humans, but cars I can put up with. We visited this region in 2019. At that stage, Lake Eyre was approximately 80% full, the most extensive coverage since 2011. The lake appears to be at about the same level as it is now, although there are hopes at the moment, with Cooper Creek flows still having not reached the lake, that the lake will fill almost to 1974 levels, the highest levels on record. On the rare occasions that the lake does fill, it covers an area of 9,000 square kilometres. This has only occurred 3 times in the last century. If you ever get a chance to do a flight over Lake Eyre, it's quite an impressive flight to take. Seeing the scenery over Lake Eyre and how vast Anna Creek Station is and how vast the lake is, it really makes you feel quite small in the grand scheme of things and understand how vast this Channel Country is. Having done the flight in the past, on this trip we just wanted to see the water from land, and that's what we did at Halligan Bay and Level Post Bay. We're sharing the images from this flight that we did in 2019 just to show you the difference and to be able to see whether it's something that you would want to do. When we went over Lake Eyre Kati Thanda, we actually flew out of Williams Creek and did a 1 hour flight, but there are a lot of options available out of William Creek and Murray and Cooper Pedy. On the Oodnadatta Track again, where this is a part that we haven't done before. We had to turn off at William Creek last time because of damage to our van. This time we're heading up to Udnidata.
Yep.
Yay. What do you enjoy most over the last couple of days?
I enjoyed the ruins at
Strangway Springs.
Yeah, Strangway Springs.
Yeah, that was pretty cool. I highly recommend you go to Strangway Springs ruins if you're coming through.
And also go to Halligan Bay and looking at the water, which is just 20 metres off the 20 metres off the beach area there too.
Yeah. That was awesome, seeing the expanse of water out there at Halligan Bay. We didn't do that last time either because the reports that the road out there was atrocious. This time most of it's not too bad. There's one section of bull dust, and the last 15k is quite corrugated. We ended up stopping and helping somebody whose roof rack had rattled loose. Luckily we had the right size bolts to be able to help them remount their roof rack. Had lost one of the bolts. But yeah, and the interesting thing is, when I was just saying to Peter, people had been saying, oh, it's like a highway, or it's fine, it's not a problem. I suppose it depends on your interpretation, but if it's so corrugated that you've got to slow down at 30k an hour,
Less than that.
Yeah, it was just very corrugated. But overall, had no problems getting out there. Well worth the trip. Well worth going out and seeing the lake from the shore. I was actually surprised at how silty the water was with all the topsoil that's washed down.
Yeah. Very salty too, wasn't it?
Yeah, very salty. I tasted it. It's really, really salty. So that's not surprising. Anyway, onwards on the Udnidata. We'll bring you another report of what this section's like and what we see along the way.